Okay, so wrong pun. Here we go. Oh, sorry, wrong pun again. Third time a charm. Here we go. It is pun. Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to the latest Dragon Ball Superhero release, and that is Pun Superhero. So yeah, the first release we've had in a while. The last one was the Gamers back in Jan, so it's been a few months. The next one is going to be Broly, I believe, who hopefully will be the last one from the movie lineup. If you are in the Dragon Ball Discord channel, actually if you're not, link in the description, come join us. But if you are there, you might have seen that I mentioned I'm not really excited for this figure. So it'll be interesting to see how I feel at the end. Let me know in the comments below if you've been excited for this release or not. I think it's one of those weird ones where I think everyone is maybe quite on the fence, maybe just getting for the Gohan head, and not so much for the character itself. But yeah, we do have the new Tamashii quality seal there. That's something to point out if you are into the Dragon Ball figures. It started from this month actually with releases I've noticed. This was also a Premium Bandai release, so we do have that Premium Bandai logo down the bottom there. But yeah, otherwise the same sleek design that we have from all the other movie releases, with a nice selection of images on the back showcasing her accessories. And yeah, she comes with 2 water bottles, so we'll check those out in a moment. That's probably the accessory I'm most looking forward to. But yeah, let's pop it out of the box and check out those accessories. So we've got Pun in the center here. She comes with wind swept hair, which is cool. A neutral smiling face. Is it smiling? No, sorry, frowning face. The mouth open, screaming one. The cheeky smile, and the little wee miffed look there, which is pretty cool. I mentioned she's got 2 water bottles, 2 down here. I think it's for holding in a different angle. I believe this one here had a slot for the hand right over the logo. And then we've got, what is that, the fists on her already, and then we've got the finger spread, I think the martial arts grip one. I think the bottom ones might be for holding on to those pet bottles, and yes it is, there is a little bit slot there which will connect to the bottle. So that is pretty cool. So yeah, overall, I mean, decent amount of accessories. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please go do that. I do post quite a few photos, including some of her already, along with some size comparisons with Kid Krillin, was it Broly, Kid Gohan, and so forth. Overall for her sizing, basically the same as Kid Krillin. So definitely a bit more on the bigger side, though I think there's probably more for the playability, opposed to being a lot smaller, which would be very fiddly. But yeah, let's pop it out of this and we can check out the finish. Okay, as she swings around here, we can see that little bit tough of hair popping out, which is really cute. That is definitely nice. Overall, the plastic is straight out of mold. We have a nice kind of matte white grey colour for her jumper, and this is actually a soft rubber. It's pretty thick, but it isn't one solid piece of plastic, which is nice. The shoes have a lovely vibrant red colour, along with the white for the sole. Actually, sorry, it is a slight purple grey colour, which is quite nice. The same red is used on her fingerless gloves, and then we have the logo, which is nicely printed, crisp and clean, and same for the faces there. Nice little blush on the, what was it? Man, I'm forgetting my English now. Yeah, the blushing with rosy cheek colours there, along with your eyes. Everything is really nice and well printed. It's a very simple figure, which does look pretty nice, but nothing stellar in terms of the finish, though, compared to some of the more recent releases, like Turles and what was it, the second form Frieza. But yeah, moving into the articulation, we have one. Was a ball joint in the head. I can pop this off easily. There we go. So we've got one straight peg there, so you don't really have to worry about it tilting left and right too much. But we do have nice, what is it, tilt left and right. Going forward is pretty nice, and back. The articulation of the neck is actually quite nice. Everything moves pretty well and holds its position well. For the shoulders here, these are a little bit itty bitty tiny butterfly joints in there. Not a huge range of motion. That's a little bit stiff actually. Let's go with the other arm from there. There we go. So that one moves up and around pretty well. very delicate. If you've got chunky hands, do be careful. It may be quite hard to move, or you may put pressure in the wrong spot leading to breakages, so do be very careful with that. But we do have that nice little itty bitty butterfly joint inside there, which does help with the articulation, especially with this being a bit more rubbery and soft. It does allow things to move pretty well. Now, moving over to the elbow joint, it's basically just a straight peg in there, so you do have to be a little bit careful, but we do get a nice range of motion that will get stuck on the jacket here. The hand itself, again, I think this is a really tiny peg. Let's pop that off. There we go. It's a real tiny peg, and those come off as well. So be careful not to lose the other part of the glove there. So let's pop that back on. So we get a little bit of motion. It's very similar to the recent Chaozu figure that came with Tenshin Han, but just on a slightly bigger scale. So a little bit fiddly, so do be careful there. So for the torso, well, we don't have much motion. It's going to be on the lower hip area where the legs can move. But again, everything is very small and tiny, so not much motion, but she can do the splits really well, which is cool. Again, it's very fiddly, so if you've got large hands, you may have a little bit of trouble posing and getting this figure into a nice, well articulated pose. So now for the feet, I mean these, what was it, just swivel left and right, little tiny amount of motion back and forward. Everything is very limited and just very minuscule amount of articulation. The toe tip is actually pretty good. But yeah, overall everything is nice and tidy, but the articulation is a little bit fiddly and definitely a little bit more limited due to the tiny joints that she has. And yeah, for my one though, definitely this right shoulder is a little bit tighter, but after a little bit of motion it is coming loose a little bit, but maybe a little bit of silicone oil could be needed for this figure. So moving over to the faces, this is the base one with that subtle frown, and it looks really nice, crisp and clean. And we've got the eyelashes coming up, the eyebrows above, and the painting on the cheeks is really crisp and clean as well. So really nice. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's quite a large face as well. So compared to some of the other figures with real minute detailing, this one is a bit more of a simpler, larger side. Now to change the faceplate, we just pop the front part of the hair off like so, and that will give us access to the faceplate, which we can slot on and off like so. Pop the new faceplate on, and then the hair on top. There you go. This face is actually really nice, a little bit cheeky grin. Definitely liking this face, probably one of my favourites actually. Definitely brings forth a lot of that joyful youthfulness which Pan has. Now for the other hair, let's pop that one on. We can pop the head off, slot the new head on. Again, take the bangs off, and then we can slot in the screaming face. So this one works really good with maybe the training pose with Piccolo, and you can change the hands to have a more of a martial arts grip. There we go, so that works really well together. And then the final face is the slightly pouting one. Again, this one's really nice, matches the windsuit hair look as well, and we have extra lines just above those cheeks to bring forth the shape with the kind of poutingness with the little wee circle mouth there. So this one's really cool. Again, we've got a little flick of the eyebrows to really bring forth that emotion. Definitely a really cool expression. Actually, all the expressions with this figure are really cool so far. I guess that really makes up for the more limited articulation which you do have. The two water bottles are really cool, actually exactly the same as well. They have a slot which will go into one of the hands as a left and a right hand, so she can hold both bottles, one for her and one to give to Piccolo. So that's really cool. It's going to be a nice little sweet way to pose her with Piccolo. Now the bottle itself is really cool, maybe a little bit hard to see, but in English it says Super Mineral, and the kanji itself is the kanji Cho, which is used for Dragon Ball Cho, or Dragon Ball Super. So it's really nice how it all ties back into the series like that. Okay, so this is the one-eyed shut, winking, kind of happy, laughing, giggling Gohan bonus face. So this is really cool, kind of matches the end of the movie when he's just exhausted from battle, just happy that they saved the day. So the faceplate will fit on the original Gohan head. It is a little bit more looser, but the pegs, let's pop this off so we can have a closer look. So it may be a little bit hard to tell on camera, but the pegs on the new one are slightly shorter than the original faceplate. So they are not 100% compatible or easy to switch on and off with each other. You may be able to trim it to get it fitting if you do want to go with the original faceplates with their wind swept here. Let me try and get this on. But by default, while the pegs do line up, as you can see you get quite a big gap there, which means you aren't able to connect it to the head. So you can use the new faceplate on the old head, but you can't use the old faceplates on the new head. Okay, so we've got Pun along with the head and the Ultimate Gohan here, just for a little bit of a size comparison while we talk about the pros and cons of this figure. Now straight away she is really cute. The fact she has the two water bottles to give to Piccolo, who is her basically, I mean probably more of a father than Gohan, kind of like how Piccolo was to Gohan, since Gohan's always off working and studying. But yeah, we start off the movie with Piccolo training Pan, where she gives him the water, and that is super sweet how she comes with both of those bottles. We have a great selection of expressions, cheeky grin, the power up, the fighting one, and the little bit miffed look are fantastic. The printing of her face is good, the jacket looks nice, it's soft rubber which is cool, and the colours are nice. And you know, I feel like it matches the character design really well in terms of the proportions and everything like that. Now, articulation, it's what I expected. When you compare it to some of the other small figures, like the recent Anya and Chaozu, it's definitely there. It's nowhere near as good as Kid Goku or Krillin, who I feel like while they're similar sizing, they have so much better articulation, and it could be partly due to the chest design as well. But the arms on Kid Krillin I do feel are better than Pan. Now yeah, so that comes to the cons. The size of a figure compared to the actual character in the show or movie is definitely a bit bigger. I understand that it's better to be bigger because I'm not a huge person, but even I still had a little bit of trouble articulating this figure, getting it right. So I can definitely imagine if you have large hands and you will struggle. So having it slightly bigger is while it is a con from a visual or a size comparison standpoint, it is a bit of a pro in terms of usability. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. The articulation, again, the elbows and the legs, a little bit more limited. But everything does fall within my expectations, so I won't be too critical there. Overall, it's a fun, simple little figure, and probably one of my more favourite ones from the Super line, beyond Gohan here, mainly because I'm not a huge fan of Super in general, but this little figure is something a bit different, and I know, I just love those water bottles. I think it'll be a really nice figure to pair up with Piccolo or Gohan. And the extra face is just a little bit bonus. Not really sure if I would use it one. I quite like the ones that came with the original Gohan in the first place, or the ones with the Gamma, the Super Saiyan head, or one of the glasses. But it is nice to have that option there for some maybe different types of photos or anything like that. But yeah, overall, fun little figure. Is it a must buy? I don't think so. It's worth getting in the collection if you see it though. I mean, premium bundle, so it'll be a bit hard now. I'm guessing she isn't going to be too expensive though. And I'd probably pick up cheap without this Gohan head, to be honest, just to fill in a collection if you didn't pre-order from premium bundle. Definitely drop a comment below what you think about this figure, if you pre-ordered it, and if you didn't, why, and do you regret not getting it? I'll be keen to check out your comments on that. But yeah, currently a pretty busy at the moment. I've got some guests visiting, so I'm being a tour guide, so I won't have much chance to take many photos of this figure with even recent releases until later next month. But there are some simple size comparisons on Instagram now, so you can check those out. And I will try and get more photos taken and posted on Rockchala in the coming weeks. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, cheers!